ever have the opportunity to do an around-the-world trip, head west. The jet lag is way better, and you'll have more time to enjoy the trip and less time being groggy and cranky. If your stops are close enough together, the only jet lag you really experience is just getting up earlier and earlier in the morning. Yeah, eventually it catches up to you, but it's way easier than going east. So west is where I was headed, northwest to be exact, from Brisbane to Bali, Indonesia. I like having little inconsequential goals for every one of my trips, and in this case it was to get my country count from 57 to 60. Easy enough, right? 3 new countries and a whole world to choose from. I had friends I'd wanted to see and things to do in Europe, so I'd narrowed down the possibilities to someplace between Australia and there. I'd heard many great things about Bali and seen plenty of gorgeous Instagram posts, so that wasn't a hard decision. Finding out how cheap it is to visit sealed the deal. Bali, to save you some Googling, is one of the 17,000 islands in the Indonesian archipelago. The country, the 4th most populous in the world, comprises most of the land just north of Australia. The island and province of Bali is east of Java and has an economy based almost entirely on tourism. It's where Australians go to get drunk and hang out on the beach when they get bored at home getting drunk and hanging out on the beach. I kid. Kinda. I arrived fairly late at night, something I typically try to avoid, and was instantly swarmed by taxi drivers. I couldn't get a sense of what a decent price would be for the short trip to the hotel, and overall I was just kind of getting a bad vibe from all the incessant pushiness. So instead, I went back inside and found a kiosk that offered a hotel shuttle. And I was able to pay there, and surprise, surprise, it was less than half what I'd been quoted outside. Caveat emptor, as they say. Now, I'm fairly well known as a budget traveler, so it's quite possibly a surprise that I'd be staying at a hotel. And not just any hotel, but this one's across the street from the beach, in one of the most touristy places on Earth. Well, 2 things. One, after several weeks hanging out with my friend, I was a little behind on work. I needed someplace I could hunker down for a while and write. Second, everything was just incredibly cheap. A gorgeous room in this gorgeous hotel, which physically couldn't be closer to the beach, was $60 a night. There were others actually, a little farther away, that were even less. Which is to say, Bali is quite affordable. The next morning I partook of the delicious complimentary breakfast, which had a huge spread of waffles, eggs, fruit, and just about everything you could imagine. And then, figuring work could probably wait a little bit, I headed out to explore. Now, I should have considered that since this was such a touristy place that it would be, well, touristy. And usually this doesn't bother me, but in one specific way I kind of hate places like this. All I was trying to do was have a nice walk on the beach, and I was interrupted every few minutes by someone trying to get me to stop and have a drink at the hotel, or rent a chair and an umbrella, or rent a chair and an umbrella and have a drink, and it was just nonstop. I don't begrudge people trying to make a living, but holy crap, the ridiculousness of this was insane. I would be saying no to one guy and then immediately be accosted by another guy who was within sight of the first guy asking me the exact same thing. It was infuriating. And I get it was their job, but that doesn't change the fact that it soured me on walking on the beach. So much so, that this was the only time I went on the beach. I'm not kidding. I wouldn't even call it a beach. It was a sales floor. It's a very different kind of travel than I'm used to, and there's a reason why I typically avoid it. So instead, I veered inland, passing endless shops of various wares. I think it helped that I had my headphones on at this point, letting me better ignore the various barkers. Perhaps Bali, or at least Denpasar, the capital, isn't my kind of place. I don't like shopping for trinkets or souvenirs, I don't like massages, I don't need tattoos, and I don't drink anymore. So an ultra-touristy place like this just isn't my scene. And that's fine. Some people love it. And for me, the hotel was amazing, and surprisingly, the rooftop restaurant had some of the best food I've ever had at a hotel. I didn't eat every meal there, but I ate enough that the waitstaff knew me pretty well. They thought I was quite an oddball, arriving for the tail end of breakfast, setting up shop somewhere shady, and then ordering lunch a few hours later and dinner sometime after that. Unfortunately, I was able to get a ton of work done, even getting ahead on some writing, which was great because that meant I would have more free time in the coming weeks. And I will say this, everyone I met, both at the hotel and at the various restaurants and shops, other than the beach, even the taxi drivers, were all remarkably friendly. If I had to work and live around such a steady stream of drunk tourists, I'd be jaded and grumpy in days. And yet somehow everyone here seemed totally at ease and absolutely delightful. That, more than anything else, is why I'd like to go back and explore more. Okay, that and the food. I'll end this Bali section with one last story. In order to enter Qatar, my next stop, I needed a fresh negative COVID test. I'd found a place online that seemed pretty good, but the hotel said I was better off going in this other direction to this other place. So I headed there. Wanting to save some money and explore some more, I walked, and walked, and walked. Only to find out when I arrived I needed cash, so I walked more and found an ATM, and then back. And I was told I'd get the results in about 12 hours. No problem, I thought, as I was leaving the next night. That done, I walked all the way back to the hotel and took a nap, only to be woken up by the hotel phone asking me when I was checking out. No, I was checking out tomorrow, Tuesday. I remember making the reservation. And as politely as humanly possible, she said, no, it's listed as today. I said, okay, hold on, I'll call you right back. Surely there'd been a mix-up. And yeah, there was, and it was mine, in a big way. I'd planned for weeks to leave on Tuesday, but as I was buying the tickets, I figured I'd add an extra day in Austria and spend one less day in Bali. Meaning that not only was I now late for checkout, I was leaving Bali in less than 12 hours. Except no, I wasn't, because I didn't have the test results. And I wouldn't get those results, if they sent them on time, until I was already trying to check in for my flight. So now I needed same-day testing. So after mildly packing all my stuff and leaving my bag with the front desk, I headed back out into the oppressive tropical heat and walked even more than I had that morning to get to a same-day testing site, only to be informed that that same-day testing site no longer did same-day testing. So after all of that, I walked even more across the city to the original place I had found, which then tested me and gave me the results, all while I was waiting in their air conditioning. Then I walked all the way back to the hotel and spent the rest of the day on the rooftop restaurant. Total distance, 7.5 miles, about 12 kilometers. And you know what? It's a good thing I did, because I never got the results from that first place. That night, I headed back to the airport and boarded another flight west, onwards to country number 59. Qatar isn't the country I've spent the least amount of time in. That would be Belgium. That said, I was only in Qatar for about 24 hours. I arrived in the morning, dropped my bag at the hotel, and then headed out to wander around. I'll spare you the details of my destroyed feet thanks to that testing misadventure in Bali. But suffice it to say, I was in a lot of pain. I was also in a lot of heat. You might think that Doha, being in the desert, would have a dry desert heat. But oh no, my friends, oh no. It's on the water, and the water is hot. Not only is the air temperature 108, it's 108 and humid. It was unreal. It was brutal. It's 105 degrees out. There's a fair bit of humidity. I'm wearing jeans and a long sleeve shirt because that's what the web said I needed to wear, especially the jeans part. I'm sweating a lot, but hey, you know, it's not that much worse than being at home. But I still walked, and I walked until I couldn't walk anymore, and then I took an Uber back to the hotel. I expected Qatar to be similar to Dubai, given their proximity, but that wasn't my experience. The locals I met in Dubai were pretty rude, and the only friendly people I met were the immigrants who were running the various shops and restaurants. In Qatar, people on the street said hello to me, which was strange. Those who didn't say hello smiled and nodded. Everyone was just super friendly. Not Bali friendly, but infinitely more so than Dubai. I'm not going to claim everyone's going to get that kind of experience in Qatar, but I liked it better than Dubai. After checking out some of their cool buildings, I crashed back at my hotel. Up next, Europe, starting with one of my favorite places, Vienna. See you next time. Thanks for watching.